Welcome back to another episode of It's a Man's World podcast. On the previous episode last week, it was a solo episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Today's episode is going to be something a little bit different, a guest that I'm actually very excited to hear a lot about. I have met Shane in Miami at Boxer, at the gym. We're actually in a course at the minute, Danny Morell's course, Inner Circle, that I speak about on the podcast as well. And I always say, never judge a book by its cover. And I'm just very excited to hear about like your journey, your story. Obviously, yesterday we were at Boxer, we done the breath work, and it's something that I talk about as well on the podcast a lot, and I practice it. And I know that's obviously where you're at too with your own journey, but I'd love you to just introduce yourself into like where you're at, where you're from, and just give people a little bit of a background. And yeah, let's get into this. I'm excited.
Hi. So, my name's Shane. I'm from Arizona, and it's kind of a lot like to get into. Like, so if you want to be like specific with me or whatever, it just goes.
Okay. Right.
And how I landed here in Miami was even just kind of like I was almost like forced into this work of healing, and I was forced into it, stumbled upon it, and I ever since I've been in Miami, like my whole environment has changed, and not only my outside environment, but my internal environment as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm colliding with them, and I'm just kind of like moving within that space right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is it so different for you now at the minute, like, or how does it feel? Because I want to know how you actually got there, because I know when you we gave a little bit of a background into like Arizona, where you were brought up, and like where your life has kind of all started, but let's bring it back to that, because I just want to know.
Back. Okay.
Yeah, I want to know a little bit about that.
So I grew up in an area where it was a lot of lack. So I'm from the desert, and I'm from a town that's close by the border. So that environment, I got wrapped up in it, and I kind of been influenced by my circumstances. And there's not a lot of opportunities, and especially not just as far as like our environment, but like also our home environments and where we grew up was very destructive. And we grew up in like broken homes, and we grew up in the streets, and we grew up around just gang culture and a lot of drugs, a lot of crime. And I was just influenced, and I was like pulled. And when you're so young, you don't really know anything outside of that. So it's hard to compare or make choices when there's not choices that are in front of you, that you can't really make many choices. Yeah. You're kind of living in it, and that's your reality. So my reality was that, and I kind of just lived in it. And then it unfolded as I got older, is when I started to see where I was going wrong, or I was starting to see my destructive behavior, because my spirit was fighting with my current circumstances, and something wasn't connecting. And I kept finding myself in situations that I was questioning, that like I was talking to a higher power, and I was asking him like, why's my life like this? Like, what is going on here? Mm-hmm. I was starting to see like where we were at a disadvantage, and the people that I was around looked just like me. And I found myself hating them, but in reality, I was hating myself. Yeah. So I didn't like our behavior, our conduct, our choices, and I questioned it. Mm-hmm. And but I was always involved in it.
Yeah.
And that was a cycle that I couldn't break. And so I went in at 13. I got charged as an adult for a shooting. Right, okay. And when I was in there, I was starting to program all these very toxic emotions, and I was very angry. I was very lost, insecure. I was just but that was my reality. I didn't know.
You don't know.
I just thought that's how we were.
That's what life
and
is.
I kind of accepted it at the moment. I just kind of like just embraced it. Mm-hmm. And I got worse, and I didn't know this. And then by the time I was 18, I got released from there, And then I went in again at 19, and then for another shooting. And then I remember the judge told me that I was a progressive criminal. And all these, so I'm going through all these very high stress level situations as a little boy, so young. So I'm involved in the system, and I'm feeling all these emotions, all this like heaviness, all this high stress. And to me, it was normal. Like it was normal. I didn't know nothing else. And as I'm continuing on this journey, I end up doing 10 and a half years. And then I got out when I was 30.
Oh my God.
But this is normal. So the people that society was kind of against were my friends.
Right, okay.
And I related to them the most.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like it was a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Because the ones that were looked down upon the most is the ones I related to the most. And it was like, you know, those were my people. Those were the people I identified with. And even though that was us, I didn't question them, I questioned me. And I started to question my behavior and my upbringing and like what I was feeling and all these things. Mm-hmm. And then, so I get out at 30 years old, and what do I do?
So was that like 15 years?
Overall, it was about 13, like around there. Yeah, it was like, it was like very intense. It was very fast. There was so much stuff that I bottled up, and I didn't know what to do with this, with all this. So
Wow.
I get out, and I'm thinking, this is my thought process at the moment, was I'm free. That was my my thinking.
Yeah.
I'm free, right? That's what you would think.
Yeah.
You're free. And I was wrong. I was hit with reality. I wasn't free. I wasn't completely free yet. I was still, all that time I did, even before my incarceration, like just the trauma from the streets, the home, you know, prison, all this, it really took its toll on my state of being. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it. So I'm thinking I'm free, and I want to be normal. So I want to fit in. So I try to do normal people things, which is, you know, have relationships, just live normal, you know, get a home and work. And I was like, this will start my normalcy. This will start my path. Like, and I was so wrong. Like God had another plan, and I was so wrong. Such a like a rude awakening for me. And every situation I found myself in, I was responding to it in the ways I was raised up in, the way I was brought up in. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't hold a relationship because I never had one. I never had a mother figure. So I don't know that connection between a woman. Yeah. And I never understood the feminine. And I was kind of like fighting subconsciously. I was like fighting against it because it's like, I think like I kind of was angry.
Yeah.
So I was like unconsciously knowing that I was like hating them in a way that it was just like very destructive. Like I liked being in the relationship, but I subconsciously hated them because I identified them with the people that hurt me.
Yeah, and left you. Like
yes. So it was like I couldn't hold on relationships. My ways of responding to people when I got angry, I didn't know how to process those feelings because I'm in a place that they praise violence. They applaud you for it.
Okay.
And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day, and we were talking about, you know, like our prior existence and, you know, the violence that we had in our life. And to me, it was like, I really like, this is gonna sound crazy, but when somebody like, okay, you don't have a father figure, which is not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a father, but somebody that kind of is ahead of you, that really encourages you and gives you a feeling. We didn't have that guidance or anybody to, you know, pat us on the back or sit us down and look us in the eye and just say, you know what, like,
that's it.
I'm here for you, right? You're gonna be great. You can do this. So when we did violent things when we were younger, our older homeboys, that we would call them at the time, would praise us for that. Okay. So that was it felt good. Even though we were doing wrong and they praised us, that was our way of feeling
like you're doing something good.
Yes.
Really. Yeah, like you're progressing.
Yes, like, oh man, like I did good. Yeah. I did good.
Wow.
Yeah. So they would encourage violence. They would encourage, the more violent you were, the like, to them it was the better you were doing in life. And so I was just brainwashed, I guess you could say. I was really brainwashed. And then so I'm just so destructive. And I couldn't, like, I felt like water through my hands. Like I couldn't hold on to anything. Like I never been taught business. I never been taught relationships. I never been taught, taxes and just normal like life things. So now I'm like falling into kind of like a depression. So I'm like I thought I was free. And it just took a lot for me to get to where I'm at right now. It took a lot of soul searching. It took a lot of like ups and downs. And there's moments that I had that were good. I can't say it was all bad.
Yeah.
There was moments that I had that I was up. I was experiencing heightened experiences in life. There's times I had good relationships, and it wasn't always bad.
Of course.
But for the most part, it kind of turned out like that.
Yeah.
And the breaking point was before I moved to Miami. I was married at the time, and this is kind of what pushed me to Miami.
Okay.
Was I lost my marriage, I lost my child, my businesses. We had a few businesses together. I lost all that, and that's kind of what restarted this whole process of like I couldn't understand why, just I couldn't hold on to anything.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
was it
couldn't.
your emotions, if you don't mind me asking, like that everything ended, or was it just like you just didn't know how to be in a relationship or have that love?
Not necessarily. I don't think it was my emotions.
Yeah.
I think it was deeper than that.
Wow.
It was something deeper that I had to go figure out. I had to really dig very deep, and I didn't know where to look. I didn't know. I knew something was wrong. Like a lot of people can't pinpoint it.
Were you running from the relationship and running from that feeling of love because you don't know what it is and it makes you feel uncomfortable, or was it more that you just didn't know how to process it?
The problems were so deep that even quite a few people told me, you need a therapist. And then I'm like looking at them like, you think a therapist is gonna help me? Like, you think they know how to pinpoint my problems? And I don't know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. I can't really say.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting a therapist, but
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, my problem's a little far beyond a therapist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? This is gonna be a battle.
Yeah.
And I made a choice that I was gonna remain in the fight. Like I said, you know what? No matter how hard this gets, like I got to a point where I said, I'm willing to die for the progression, for the enlightenment. Like I'm willing to seek it so bad that I will take on whatever needs to. Because I've gone this far.
Yeah.
I've gone this far. I've took all the hits.
Yeah.
I've touched the depths. So I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to get on a real journey. And the way it happened was so crazy. I ended up in Miami. And while I was in Miami, I wrote a children's book about my experience because that's where my experience started as a child. Wow. So I wrote this children's book, and it's kind of based on my experiences, but it's more tells a story of endurance and resilience and being lost in a world and finding a light, which is amazing. But it doesn't stop there because I still needed to heal. Just because I wrote a children's book doesn't really necessarily solve the issue.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting a friend out here in Miami, and he introduced me to breath work. He introduced me to meditation. And in all my years,
This is what you're looking for.
I've had lows, highs, I experienced a lot of things in my life. And of all my years, it's just like, when I first heard it and he introduced me, I knew there was a light in him. There was a light. He was shining, and we related just on the simple fact that we had a similar background,
Okay.
which was, coming from, the neighborhoods, the gangs, violence, and all that stuff. So I kind of sensed he wasn't some gimmick, or he wasn't like leading me in any wrong direction. And, you've heard people say church and this and all these things. There's so much coming at you, so much information. And I'm a skeptic. I really am. Because I'm like, I want the truth. I want healing. I want to heal at its finest.
Yeah.
Like, what does this take? Like, what do we got to do? Is there like a limitless drug, a pill that I could take?
What is it that they're doing? Yeah.
Is there something I could just take?
it.
It's like, if that was the case, I will take it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, give me that limitless pill. Like, I want it. And so I want the truth. I don't want no gimmick. I don't want to play with this, because this is life or death. This is something serious. And I need to heal, because if I don't heal, it's going to be bad. You know, I'm gonna be a burden to society. And nobody wants that.
No.
Nobody wants to be unproductive and just be that. But that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up being destructive and I'm a statistic by that point. Then I'm gonna end up in the category of all the destructive people in society. I'm gonna be with them, the ones that just gave up, the ones that just said, accepted their role.
Accepted, yeah.
And so I do this breath work with him, and I'm thinking like, I'm just kind of like trying, whatever. Like,
Still a little bit like
I'm
ego's like, no.
Yeah. I'm not really fit. I'm not understanding.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding. And then he kind of explains a little bit more. It's like in depth. And then it kind of piques my interest because I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know there was like I didn't know that there was a psychology behind this whole process. I didn't know it was that in depth. Like, I think the forefront of the word is it. Most people stop there.
Yeah.
They say meditation. They think, oh, it's
Boring.
just breathing.
Stupid.
That's it. They think it's just like, okay, this is what it is. But beyond that is where all the truth lies.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't know. So
Scared, yeah.
Yeah. So it was intense. So I do this breath work. He teaches me the whole psychology behind it, what's behind it, what we're doing, what this whole process is about and stuff like that. And I'm like, I've never heard this, like never. Like, it's like so intense to me.
Yeah.
And so I practice it and like for 3 days, we go to the beach and we do it.
Yeah.
I practice it again while I'm alone at my place and I'm just doing this breath work. And so to break it down for people that don't know, is what we're doing is we're pumping the fluid in our spine up into our brains, which is our pineal gland, and we're awakening our pineal, which is our third eye. Well, there's power in this third eye, which is higher consciousness. And where consciousness is, the higher consciousness is where all truth lies, the divine, which is Christ consciousness, which is the light. So the light enters you. And this is very deep. Like, this goes into like quantum physics. And I started studying this stuff after. Well, I wanted the experience because he was selling me on it.
Yeah.
He was really selling it to me. Like, he was like telling me about it. And I was like, he was speaking so highly of it and this, like almost like as if he was on a drug.
Yeah.
And then when I found out later that it releases melatonin and DMT, I was like, so this is an ancient practice that's been around since consciousness. And I think it's just kind of been hidden or something. I even the first time I heard it, I was kind of curious too, like, why doesn't a lot of people know about this? And that's what kind of piqued my interest. If this is really a truth in an ancient teaching, why don't more people know about this? Maybe they haven't experienced it. Because he's telling me, but I still haven't experienced it yet.
Yeah.
So when I experienced it for myself, oh my.
It's the best feeling ever.
I couldn't explain it.
Changes your life.
Changed my life. So in the experience, as I'm sitting through a meditation, what I was doing was just like a laser beam. You're focusing all your intention.
Yeah.
Like, usually our thoughts go scatter throughout the day. They're here, they're there, they're up, they're down, they're this or that.
Yeah.
They're just scattered. So the practice was to take all that thought, all that energy, be aware of what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because when awareness, there's power. Because now you're aware. So you're aware of what you're thinking. It's not just, oh, wow, the sun's shining. Oh, this. It's actually taking a thought, being aware of that thought, and taking it somewhere. So I started to be aware of what I was thinking. And then I started to hear myself, because now I can hear my thoughts. And I'm like, that's what was wrong with me, my inner dialogue.
Yeah.
So now I could hear my thoughts. And my thoughts was everything. I was replaying, my inner dialogue was everything that I was saying to myself was I am. And it started with I am. I am a failure. I am a loser. I am a gang member. I am uneducated. I am. And I said, that's what I've been telling myself this whole time. So then the power was what I was telling myself, my inner dialogue. It wasn't my circumstances. It was what I was relaying to myself. Because then I found out through more teaching and studying that the subconscious doesn't know the difference between what it experiences, what it feels, and what you tell it. So now I'm starting to say, my mind is like blown at this point. I said, so my inner dialogue is messed up.
Yeah.
My frequencies was out of whack. My nervous system was shot.
Yeah.
I have high stress level. My trauma was releasing stress hormones, which in turn, those stress hormones were giving me negative. I was having negative emotions from there, which was anger, insecurity, doubt, unworthiness. It was just releasing all these chemicals in my body that my thoughts and my choices was leading up to this. And then I'm feeling the emotion, and then I'm making bad decisions, and then I'm having bad realities. So I'm like, wow, this is intense. So I do the meditation, and I squeeze this fluid into my pineal gland. And I swear to you, exactly how it happened was I started to feel myself drown out from the world. And all sound, I started to lose it. I felt like I was going into space, like where nothing existed, nothingness. There was no time, no concept of time. There was no feeling. There was no thought. There was nothing, no sound. I was just suspended in a place that was like, I didn't know where I was. It was like infinite. It was like nothing was there.
There's nothing around you.
And I was like, where am I? I knew I just like, this might sound hard to explain, like for people to hear, but I felt like I was outside of myself. Like I left my body because I knew I wasn't where I was just at. I was just in my house.
Yeah.
And I was like, where am I? Yeah, what just happened? And then, so I'm here, but then all of a sudden I see like an ancient tent right in front of me. And it was so real, like I could touch it. It's like as if me and you were talking right now. Like I'm talking to you and I could see you, like I'm plugged into the five senses. My senses were telling me that this was real. I could see it, I could smell it, and I could touch it. And I can like, it was right in front of me, right? And this tent appeared and I grabbed it and I felt the canvas and I opened it because I knew it was like, I felt something in my heart saying there's somebody's in here for me. Like, so I open it, and as I open it, there's a person in there, but a strong presence. It wasn't just a person, but he's sitting on the chair as you are, and his whole head was alight. And then I heard a voice, I heard a word, so loud, like as if we were talking. And it said, and it wasn't like, it didn't have a distinct, like a sound to it. It was more like it was spoken inside of me. And I know it wasn't me, but it said, you found me. And I was so scared. I didn't know I kind of shook myself out of it. Like I wanted to leave, and I dropped to the ground, and I was just like, my heart was racing. And I said, what was that? Like, what just happened? So I call my friend, and I tell my friend, I hit my pineal, and he goes, how do you know? I said, bro, there's no doubt I hit it. Like there's no way I could question. Like I couldn't be like, was
Not
it
really sure.
100%? Like I could put my life on it. I knew something changed within me. Something happened to me. And I've never experienced it. And this is no drug. It's nothing. I've never experienced nothing like this in my whole entire life. And from then on, I could feel my body changing. My brain was changing. And I started to do more research on this. And as I'm doing it, I'm starting to see that the power is in the consciousness, is up there, the pineal, activating it. And so now as I go into depth, so now I'm sitting there doing work on my desk, and I can hear in the background YouTube is playing. And YouTube, for some reason, these quantum physics come on. And normally it has a very monotone sound to it. It's almost like a scientist or a doctor speaking, very boring. Especially to somebody like me. Like I listen to like, horrible stuff. Music that's just like, I don't even listen to anymore. Right. And I'm listening to it, but as I'm listening to it, I can comprehend it. And that's how I started to know, okay, something's changing in my brain. Yeah. It's because I'm starting to understand depths and things I could never understand. So I'm understanding quantum physics. I'm looking and doing research, and I'm not an educated person. Well, I should watch what I say. I am educated. But before my background, I wasn't. So it was hard for me to like study and sit because I don't come from that background. But for some reason I could sit, study, and I can actually like my brain could like comprehend things. So I'm listening to it. And as I'm doing more research, now I'm starting to see that we can change our inner dialogue by changing our heart condition, which in turns changes our frequency, which in turns attracts the reality we want.
For sure.
And I said, oh, a light bulb went off. My frequency of my heart was on a very low frequency. I was on the frequency of hate and anger and fear. I was living in trauma.
Yeah.
So that's the reality that I was attracting. And so as I kept doing this practice, what happened was I started to create the world I wanted. And I started to bring into my life everything I've never had. So I've brought in a love that was not outside of me, from nothing external, no person, no family, nothing could give me this love. Nothing outside of me that we go seek high and low for. And we seek for love. We go look for it. We look for it in women. We look for it in money. We look for it in experiences. We search everywhere beyond the earth for this love. And we never find it.
No.
Well, I generated it. And I never felt this love in my entire life. It brought me to tears.
Yeah.
And I had more experiences where I had a vision one time that I was going in depth with this breathing. And I have two brothers that are disabled. And it always bothered me my whole life because I've always been in the streets. I've always been away, and I've never really connected with them because I've lived a different life.
Yeah.
And as I got older, we just kept getting more separated. But they always sit in the back of my mind. I always think about them from time to time. And I had this vision of them in this huge mansion with 30-foot refrigerators and food and garden and all these beautiful things. Like I had this vision. It was so real. And they can't talk. But in the vision, they were talking, they were walking, they were running, playing. And my heart just started pumping and feeling this heat of like this love that I've never felt. Like I started to feel a high sense of love, like a love that was like it was almost unbearable. Like it almost felt like my heart wanted to explode.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I've never, ever felt love like this, ever.
Wow.
And so I started to see now my body's changing. So my frequency's going up, my heart condition's changing. And then I continue in this research, and then I started to see that this changes your DNA. Like your neurons in the brain are reconnecting. Like things are really happening that are really changing. And you know, I don't know how if, you know, like in tune you are like with God or so, but it says in order to like you become a new creation, right? So I started to see that I had to become a new person. And your new person is what you think, what you say, what you do, your state of being, who you are. That's your person. You have to become a new person. And that was my way of becoming a new person, was what I think, what I feel, and what I believe, and what I see. So as I closed these eyes, this eye opened. And this eye changed the whole dynamic of my internal, which in turn changed my nervous system, which changed my heart condition, and which changed my reality. And I've been fascinated with it ever since. I've been obsessed. And I just felt like I want people to know this feeling and this power, and give it to the powerless. Give power to the powerless. But it's all levels of people. Like a lot of people don't realize this power exists, but it started to make sense to me. Now my whole life and my whole background makes sense. Because it's like, I had to feel that. I had to be in dark places. I had to feel unworthiness. I had to, you know, feel lack. I had to be in places where there was a healing In order to heal, I had to be broken.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I got into healing, because I was so broken. I was very broken. I was a broken human being, of spiritually broken, physically broken. I represented all the ugly things in life. Like the things that you don't want your kids to become or experience. I was him. I became him. I embodied him. Everything bad. I was like, I became it. And so this healing's so powerful to me. I'm so in love with it. Like I'm so in love with it. And that's the thing, is that the people don't see the practice behind that. They can only see surface level, which is, why are you sitting on the ground breathing?
Yeah.
But they don't understand what's going on in here.
They think you're crazy.
They think I'm crazy.
They do.
They think I'm on some like,
They're like, breath work.
is that yoga?
That wouldn't work.
You're weird.
Yeah, come and do it then. And I bet you won't last 20 minutes on the ground in stillness like that is like, changes everything.
Well, the reason also I started to realize this practice is very foreign to a lot of people is because we live in a world where we're used to achieving. We have to work, go, be on the go, fight, struggle. Like, there has to be some type of resistance. But with this, we're always trying, seeking. But with this practice, it's like, it's a divine practice, and there is no fight. No. There's none. It's sit in stillness.
And the most craziest thing
is it's receive.
It's within as well. Yeah. Everything is here.
And all the powers are within, yes. Oh, yeah, and it's just sit and receive.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's a hard concept to understand, because you're like, wait, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work for anything. It's like everything's in you. You have access to it. It's about unveiling, receiving, believing that you are everything. Like, that's why it says, know thyself. Mm-hmm. Who are you? Know thyself, the great I am. Who are you? So my thing is now unveiling who I am, which is I'm a leader. I'm a messenger. I'm light. I'm love. I am hope. I'm peace. I know myself. I know thyself. So it's like, know who you are and embody him. Yeah. Be him. Like, you don't have to attain him. Mm-hmm. He is you. He's you. But you have to believe it to your core that that's you. Go to have the feeling and the thought before the experience. And it's just like you go out being him, then your reality just starts to change. So I embody the true reality, which is I'm him. I'm no longer what I used to say about my inner dialogue is no longer what I used to say. And I was only saying that because of my circumstances were telling me to say that. Of course. Like, you're poor, you're uneducated, you're a gang member, you're unloved. So I was saying it back to myself, like, oh, okay. And I embodied that identity. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, no. That's not me. Yeah. That's not me.
Oh my God.
So that's how I ended up here in this line of work and this healing. And it's so beyond me. I just feel like I'm a messenger. Yeah. Like I'm just a tool. And I just want to be there to show people that you have this power too. Like so when I hear people's problems or what they're dealing with, I'm just like listen here.
Come to breath work with me. Hold on.
Let me tell you a little something about it.
But that is absolute. Oh my God!
Yeah,
wow!
yes.
Like when you think about that, like I had goosebumps. It actually made me a little bit emotional.
Did it really?
Thinking about how far like you've come, and you're just. That's just incredible. That like this is the example that you're showing people. Like this is literally how it changed my life. You didn't go to a therapist. You didn't, and not to shame therapists around, but like you didn't go and look for that outside. It was all inside.
It was all inside this whole time. It was uncovering it. And a lot of people don't know that. They don't know their true power and who they are, and that the love exists. And so that's why we caught in these cycles of we have the bad thought, the bad internal dialogue, then creates the bad emotion, and the bad emotion creates the bad decision. The bad decision creates the bad reaction. It's just a cycle. And then you're unhappy because of your life, your reality. And then so now you're back to bad thought.
Yeah.
And then it just continues and continues until you finally break it. But the power is like, it's like attainable. It's right there. Yeah. And you just have to shift your gaze. You have to shift it. And well, if you're unaware of it, you realize, because then you don't even know. You just assume that's you. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, that just must be who I am.
Yeah.
I just must be I must be a horrible person because I think and then you don't realize no, it's just passing through you. Mm-hmm. But you're unaware of what's passing through you. So you just let it pass through you.
Yeah.
And then once you become aware of it, there's a study. I don't know if you heard of this study, but they said, okay, on a microscopic level, that when you study matter, that you look deep into it, right? I don't know how the study went, but from what I gathered from it, if when there's nothing paying attention to it, it moves in all these different ways, right? It has like a way of like moving. But as soon as you pay attention to it and shift, like it knows that it's being watched, it responds different. It reacts in a way, it like gets in a different order. So they were saying that's the same with our thoughts. Like if you're unaware of it, it does what it wants. But as soon as you place your thought and become aware of it, you have the power to move it and shift it how you want.
Love that.
But yeah,
Self-awareness
it's
is
yeah.
everything. That's like one of my greatest things that I've been doing over like the last year or so. Like the awareness and knowing why I'm feeling like that, looking at my emotions, tapping in a little bit deeper, breathing through them, working through them, accepting where I'm at, accepting how I'm feeling there and then, and just like questioning yourself a little bit as well, because you run at such a fast pace that you don't even do that. That it's like you think that type of stuff is like, that can wait till later. But then later is like, why is my day or my life or everything a mess? It's like, well, that's because the start of that first thought, that self-awareness, it's not even there. It's non-existent for some people. But I think from what I'm listening to as well, like I'd love to know, and I'm sure people listening too, is like your mom and your dad, did you not have like you said you went in obviously at 13, where was the mother and the father figure like at that time for you? Like, because I don't like to point fingers either, because then you look at, and for anyone that doesn't know about this, it's generational trauma. It goes
Right.
back and back and back. It's never your mom or your dad's fault that's why you're like that. It's like, look at their mom and dad, go back again and again. And I think when you heal yourself, you heal 4 generations and behind us as well.
Right.
You don't even realize it. And that's probably crazy for people to even think. But like when you can do it for yourself, like I've seen my family and around me and my friends and everyone like start to change as well. Even the way they're speaking, the way they're carrying themselves, and their perception of the world as well, and different people, it changes when you can do that for yourself.
Right.
But where was your like mother, father figure, so people get an idea?
It's kind of like the situation, the dynamic with that is like my dad, he's from the Philippines.
Okay.
So when he came from the Philippines, like we grew up in Arizona, like in a neighborhood that was a gang neighborhood, but he didn't understand that because he came from a poor place. So to him, it was like elevation.
Yeah.
And then we're first generation here in America, so we like this is all we knew. So we're like, well, this is, I don't know what you see, but yeah, what we see is like we're like, this is not a good area, you know what I mean? And then my mom. So my mom, with this our relationship has been crazy because she has like been diagnosed with like problems in the brain. Like she's can't process like reality, and she's very out of tune. So their emotions are just none. So we've never knew what love was. So even when I got incarcerated at 13, like she couldn't even process. She didn't even know. So I never got a visit. I never got a letter, nothing. So to her is just like normal. So I think what she did is she accepted her current circumstances as that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like instead of like wanting to seek and be better and question and just like whatever was there, that's what it was. So if life was bad, she just had a way of just embracing it. Like this is our life, this is what it is, and this is who I am. And so we were disconnected from a very young age. And then as far as like from there, my dad was very aggressive. So he kind of like, I mean, I've forgiven him now, but at the time, there was a time where he felt like he was a big part of me growing up in the streets and becoming violent and getting involved in gangs, just because, you know, like when you're young and you're that, I used to think of, I didn't know what to do with and channel my emotions. So I was thinking on anger and hate, and, you know, I was just very aggressive, but that's because it starts in the home, you know? So I would get the aggression done to me, and then in turn I would go act on that aggression out in the streets. And then so I ended up going to the streets at like 10 years old. And then from 10, 11, I'm running the streets. So but the thing was, nobody knew or
Not as a
cared or
normal
yeah,
thing.
it's like normal. Like we could run the streets and nobody asked where we were, what we were up to, and we just ran the streets. And then 13 years old, I catch myself involved in a gang-related shooting. Some people were trying to get me, so I ended up crossing paths with them, and it happened like right in front of a middle school. So it's kind of like I was very young. I was 13. I was like a child, and when they took me in, I was just my clothes were baggy. You know what I mean? Like the juvenile. They took me to juvenile, but juvenile wouldn't accept me. They said you can't bring him here. He has to go to an adult. You have to charge him as an adult because he is a felony. So they charged me as an adult, and then that's when everything just I just figured that was my life. Like that's just this is just what it is. This is who I am, and I kind of like I just became that. Whatever my emotions, whatever my circumstances, I didn't know nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, but as I got older, like I knew I wanted something. Like my spirit could feel something. I just didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I was looking for. I was looking for something, but I felt like I had to experience all these experiences. Like it wasn't up to me at the time. It wasn't up to me. It was just like I just had to go on for a ride. I just had to tie my shoes and get ready. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's crazy to actually even think about that. Like, obviously, coming from Ireland, like, it's so weird that you think in your head, you're just like, oh my God, like, is that, I felt like that happened in a movie?
Well, the thing
Or is that real? Like,
well, when I tell my story, a lot of times I hear it and I'm like, that's crazy. I went through
Yeah.
that. And then, but at the time it was normal, you know, like there's more to the story, of course. There's so much that,
Yeah.
you know, like I was living that was very traumatic for me. But the crazy thing about this dynamic is that it is kind of normal in a way. It's
Scary.
not normal. It's not supposed to
I
be
get you.
normal, but I'm not the only one. There's a lot of kids that are incarcerated, underage kids that grew up in foster homes in the streets, grew up in all these horrible places, horrible conditions. And I knew kids at 13, 14, 15 years old that already had 3 murders. Like I was in a place where this is not normal. But it was at the time, it's normal. Like I was in there with kids that were killing their parents, or, I was in there with a guy that, did a three murders, a triple shooting, and he was only like 16, 17. Like, so these were like normal environment for us to be in. So a lot of these people, they're very damaged. These are damaged people. Like they're
sad as well, though, isn't it? Because these kids and these people that don't even have their own mind or the love or anything like that, they can't even think that this isn't what life is meant to feel and be like. This isn't what. But then again, when you look at your story, everything that happened to you was meant to happen to you for a reason, because we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation right now. But
yeah, exactly.
crazy.
That's now it makes sense. Now my life makes sense. You know what I mean? It wasn't completely like, it wasn't just in vain.
Yeah.
Like there was a very purposeful, and I had to see that and experience it because now I have this on my plate. That it's like, okay, what do I do with all this information? I have this experience, this information, I have this healing. It's very powerful in this world that we live in today. So as far as what I hold in my hand right now it's like, okay, what do I do with this? Where do I go with this? And it's just, I like be the light. Like continue, like when you heal yourself, you heal the world as well. So continue being a light. And as far as like the realities that unfold and whatever, you're sent to, and you're gonna change people's lives. Just being that. Yeah.
And is that your mission right now?
100%. 100%.
Does that fulfill you? Because I feel like we're all here to serve in some way, whether it's whatever your job is or even your purpose in life. Do you feel like that's like your calling? Because it sounds like it.
I knew I was called. I knew I was called for something. I even been prophesied over like three separate times throughout my life.
Right.
So I've heard people have the same message to me through like prophecy. I didn't understand what that was at the time, but I was like 9 years old when the first time it happened. And there was a figure, there was a very prominent, well-respected older man. His name was Tito, and he prophesied over me. He came to me, I was 9 years old, and he stopped me, and he said, I got something to tell you. He's like, you're probably not going to understand this because you're young. He's like, but I got prophecy about you. And I was kind of like, okay. He goes, you don't even know what prophecy is. And I was like, what is that? And then he said, what it is, it's a message from the divine, from God, telling me showing me something about you that's going to happen. I don't know time frame, but it's going to happen in the future. And he's like, you're young, so it's going to be hard for you to understand it, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Like, this is not something you just tell people because, oh yeah, life is going to be open. He's like, I'm not telling, it's not a positive thinking. This is just something that God showed me, and I'm going to tell you. And he told me that, he said that I was meant to lead a lot of men. I was going to lead a lot of men, but I was going to suffer a lot. That was the message. And then as I went in, he would come visit me. He would pull me out from, I was in the hole in CDU, and he'd come and pull me out. We'd talk. He'd like give me candy. And, I was a little kid. And he'd, show me boxing moves and stuff like that. And then he goes, your journey, begins. And then there was a time where I was, there was another time I was going in jail for the second time. And there was a line of us coming in, and some guy puts his hand on my chest and he goes, what's your name? And I told him, my name is Shane. He said, I know who you are. And then he's like, I don't know you personally, but I know who you are. Like, God showed me something about you. And he goes, I seen your face tats, everything. I know who you are. I've been expecting you. And I'm like, I kind of knew he was going to say the same thing. And then he said, when I shaved in the mirror, I could see you. When I sleep, I see you. Everywhere I go, I see you. I couldn't get your face out of my mind. I knew I was going to meet you. And he said, I have a message for you. He said, God has something big for you. You're going to lead many men, but you have to suffer. He said, keep going. He has it. You have to go to the end. And I'm just like, damn, like, it's crazy. Like people would just keep telling me that. And then I was eating one time, and there was a lady at a restaurant. She was crying right behind me. And I kind of turned back and asked her, I said, are you okay? And she goes, it's you. And then I go, what do you mean? She goes, your life, it makes me sad. She took off her necklace. She had a charm, like a religious charm, and she gave it to me. She put it in my hand. She said, pray every day because you got to suffer a lot. And I was like, damn, why the hell does everybody keep telling me that? Like, sheesh, I can't get a different message.
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah, you can't tell me. So it's always been I knew something was going to come out of this.
Is that why you pushed on when you were like going in so young? Like, is that why you pushed on? Because how hard was it in there? Like, that's in my head.
That
I'm
was,
like, what was that like?
That little, as small as it sounds, as little as it is, it really wasn't much. It's not like anybody handed me like anything great in life.
Course, yeah.
But those little things always resonated with me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what kept me going. Because when it got bad, I was like, I would always like hold on to that voice. Well, maybe it's going to get better because God said it was going to get better. A little hope. Yeah, just something so simple as hope was like, well, maybe there's something if I just hang on just a little bit longer. Maybe if I push just a little bit more, there's something. And I would push and push and I wouldn't see. And I would push. I'd be resilient. I'd go and I wouldn't see nothing. I'd push, and I'd keep going. And I'd just like, well, and then I started getting frustrated. Like, okay, well, where's this? What are you talking about? Yeah. Like, well, what's going on? And I still wouldn't hear nothing. I felt like, honestly, to be quite honest, there was a time in my life where I was like, I think God hates me. Like,
was there a time when you just didn't want to do it anymore?
I was like, I think he hates me. Like, he don't talk to me, he don't answer me. Like, I pray. I'm like,
was there a time in there when you were just like, I don't want to do this anymore? Or did you ever have that feeling?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm sure I felt like 99% of the world where they just feel like you're just giving up. Just I can't do it.
You can't work on your, when they say sometimes people go in, they work on themselves and this. Yeah. Is it not like that? Or is it actually,
where, as far as
like when you go into prison and stuff like that, how, like, because you're so young, like how do you even process that?
I think for my storyline and for me, because there is people that go in, change. Yeah. They, they have good stories, whatever. And, but the way it was specifically tailored to me was I had to go in so young. Yeah. And I had to grow up. I had to have the upbringing I had because I had to be fully depleted. That's how God wanted me. I had to be fully, there's nothing that can say like, well, this helped you. Yeah. Or you had great parents, or you had an education, or I had to be fully, completely stripped of anything that could ever say, I helped you. Yeah. There was no stool. There was nothing that was like elevated me. Yeah. Like I had to be fully stripped completely of anything that would ever show me any type of hope, anything. So there'd be times where I'm laying sitting in my prison cell in Florence, Arizona, in my 20s with nothing, no family, nothing.
No one coming to visit you, nothing.
No visits, just me and my thoughts. Just, but I'm at an age where I'm like old enough to understand and to see. But then my past is still ringing in my brain of like, this has been a long road, and I'm starting to. take on this identity. Like this must be my life.
Okay.
There was times where I even caught more charges in there, and I almost accepted it and said, you know what, maybe this is who I'm called to be. Like maybe this is me. Like I'm one of those people. Like I'm almost like a gypsy. I'll go wherever, like whatever lows, highs, whatever I got to go through. If I got to go here, if I got to go sit, I'll just do it because I don't have anything.
You just accept.
I'm just me.
Care.
I come and I go, and I'm here. So whatever you have for me, I've been through some of the worst prisons. I've been in level 5 yards, and I'm not to like brag or anything, but it's just I've been in places where it's like there was no hope. There was nothing. There was no hope. There was no joy. There was no peace. I didn't know nothing, no love. So my story had to be that in order to receive this healing, because now it's like, it's literally the complete opposite of like, what is that, duality, which is the polar opposite.
Yeah.
So as bad as it is as good as it is. So I had nothing. It's like now I have everything. Yeah. I have it all.
You're so grateful.
Yes, and I cherish it because it's like, it helps me to really like give it my all and really sit with this love and peace and understand what love is. And I could never understand what love is if I didn't experience what hate was, what darkness was, what just loneliness and unworthiness. Now I sit with this love that's like, I take it in and I embody it. Just like I took on that identity and I embodied like I'm him. Now I sit and I'm just like, I'm love, like I am love. And I know it's hard for people to like understand, like that they don't understand the concept of love. They think like just the word,
crazy.
The word alone, like is, to them it's corny. It's a word that's foreign.
Yeah.
We think love, we picture like some, soft.
Romance and
just stuff that's like, they don't understand that that love is completeness.
Yeah.
Love is wholeness. Love is lacking nothing. Love is empowerment. Like love is like overlooked.
Yeah.
We think it's so, as when I say love and I come across the screen and I say it, they're probably thinking like what the fuck is that? Yeah. But it's like, bro, come and get a taste of this shit. This shit's fire.
Yeah. And
this shit will change your life.
Both,
yeah.
like,
so well, when I experienced all that unworthiness, my reality, that's what I was bringing in. Mm-hmm. And so we were just, I heard something today, very powerful. They said it's like sitting looking at a sunset. And you can look at that sunset internally with joy. Yeah. But then you can also look at that sunset internally with unworthiness and just darkness. And so you won't see the same beauty. You just won't see it the same. And the sunset didn't change. The sunset was always there. But it's you that makes that sunset seem it's a sunset. Wow. So what's inside of you is what's making you see the world so dark. So now it's like my world is so bright. Yeah. I see the world, I see the water, I see the beauty in people and just the love and the energy and just I see opportunity. I see things I've never seen before.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Every day I wake up and I'm like, what is happening to me?
Oh my God. I
love this.
And you can see you're glowing and you're so happy, like in the gym and even in general overall. But can you give people, like, to summarize up slightly, give an example of your thoughts on how you were, say, years ago when you were going through everything?
My thoughts
every day, like what way did you feel in comparison to how you feel now? Because people will see one extreme of it and they'll see this now and they'll be like, obviously you've explained how and where you're at, but what way was like your day back then in comparison to right now and how you feel and what way you speak to yourself and stuff every day? Because I know there were people that are listening that will like relate to both sides.
So to give you an example, my thought process back then would be, for instance, like anger, for example. Like I didn't know how to process that information. Like I would see a situation or a person, or like, to give you an example, like say, I feel disrespected, right? I feel disrespected. Well, then my mind starts taking me all these places and things that I've already done. So up until the point I was in my life, all my thoughts were to destroy. Mm-hmm. I was destroy. That was it. That's what they taught us. That's what they brainwashed us to be. They said, you have to destroy whatever comes for you, but you have to be strong, very vicious about it. You know what I mean? So say a person didn't know me and he's acting in his realm of his insecurity or whatever he's feeling, and he brings it to me. Like I end up getting a piece of that. Well, normally I would start having these thoughts of how to destroy this person. Like I would be very angry, and I'm like, I don't think he knows that. You know what I mean? Or maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe he don't know. But from where I've come from, like, not only do we think it, but we also have done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I physically have put people down.
Yeah.
And then not to, I'm not a vicious person at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just acting based on my circumstances and what I believed I was.
Yeah.
So I would try to hurt somebody just because like, well, now I'm gonna let him feel it.
Yes.
Because obviously he wants it, so I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
Or give it to that person or whatever. So I'm creating more destruction. So his underdeveloped brain and his insecurities and anger, whatever he has inside of him and whatever I have inside of me is colliding. And now it's going to create more destruction, right? So that's how I used to think. I used to think very destructive, and it's hard to get outside of that realm.
Yeah.
Once you're in it, it just, it's like a snowball effect. It just takes over. It's almost like you're possessed, right?
Yeah.
Now it's so crazy because when I see somebody bring an insecurity or a problem or doesn't like me, like I understand that it's not me, it's him.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't fully healed. And the thoughts I have now is like, I've came so far and I've healed. I don't want no violence in my life.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't praise it. I know it's out there and exists. I don't want to partake in it. I've already done it. I've seen it. I don't want it. It's very unhealthy. It doesn't make me feel great. It's very destructive. I got nowhere with it. I threw my life away because of it.
Yeah.
I don't want that in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't embrace that. So I'll counter it with love because I know what love feels like now. Yeah. So now I understand. My thoughts have changed. I became a new person. I won't act on those destructive behaviors. Now, if somebody wants to problem me, I kind of like, well, I would let them know like, well, I don't. I don't. And I don't feel ashamed for it. I almost feel like I feel sorry. Like I wish you would heal too.
Send your love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I wish you would heal as well. But I just don't feel. I don't know. I just don't carry hate in my heart. You know, it's very burden. It was a burden to live with it.
It is.
So I want no parts of it.
Yeah.
I want to completely be freed. Like once I tapped into this being free, I want the whole thing now. Yeah. Like I want all of it. I want all that love. I don't know how far this goes, but I want all of it.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my God. And tell me one more thing as well. Like, what's next for you and where are you at in terms of everything right now?
Well, right now, I just kind of live in the belief of who I am.
Okay.
So I am love. Yeah. So now my reality has unfolded in front of me that my reality has become that now. And as of right now, so me and my friends started a high frequency club where we give this teaching and we do this practice at different places in Miami. And we're just very passionate. So we're gonna go back to the jails and we're gonna I want to get my book in the prisons and the jails. And I just feel very called and compelled to really like do my due diligence and really say what needs to be said and just kind of be a vessel and just share this message like how we're sharing it right now to the people. I really feel like it unfolds as it is inside of me. So I had a dream recently that I saw a portal, and in the portal I heard a voice say enter it. But when they said enter it, they said create. So what I got from it was now I know the power of how to change my internal environment, which will in effect, which is law. That means your reality, your 3D reality will start to change.
Yeah.
So I live in this state of consciousness that is, I'm a leader, I am love, I'm a light, and I'm a messenger. But I stay there. I don't stray from it. Yeah. So whatever that brings, then that's what it brings.
Yeah, because
whatever opportunities come, that's what opportunities come. Just like now we speak to the people, doors will open, events will happen. Wherever they need me, I'll be. Yeah. And that's kind of just, I live in that. Yeah. I fear nothing. I want for nothing. I have everything. I lack nothing. That's who I am. And that's where I'm at right now in my life.
Wow.
in Miami.
I mean, can you just say, is that the podcast? If that's not hope for anyone, and
Yes.
if it's not like
Yes.
the change you want to see, I just want to say, like, sometimes when I have podcasts like this, anyone that's listening a while now, they'll know that like I will have to ask like a lot of questions, and like I'm just like so intrigued and just like wow that like this is what you've come from and changed your life to where you are now. Like, do you give yourself the credit that you deserve?
No.
Why? You're amazing.
I mean,
How far you've come. Like, look what you've done.
not necessarily the credit.
Like, do you accept that? Like, holy shit, look at me. Like,
No,
this
no,
is
no.
what I've done.
No, I think I'm just so involved in this love,
Process of it.
the process of it, that I don't even have time to see that.
You need to do
But
that.
I think what I gather from it is just like it's almost like it's an honor to have gone through that. Like, it's an honor to like be somebody that I can say that I felt called to help, and that to me is a fulfillment. I not really necessarily the fulfillment of like others' applause, but it's more the fulfillment of like the healing and the change. Like, just that change is enough love for me that I don't have to go outside of myself. So not necessarily saying I'm not proud. I'm very proud, but what makes me happy is to be able to live in this love. That's where I'm most happiest, and that's
to do
where
it for yourself.
Yeah, you got to show up for yourself, and whatever you're called to do, like I feel like you can't fail.
No.
Like, when you're in a place of like love and consciousness, and you're just a heightened human with a heightened experience, like, I mean, you can't really expect anything, but whatever's gonna come from that's gonna come from that. Like, it's hard to really say, but whatever comes from it. Like, I just live in it, and I feel like you can't fail. Like,
It's
you really,
a
it's really like, no fail
impossible.
place. Yeah, it's impossible to fail from there.
It
Like,
is, yeah, especially
like,
when
yeah.
you're doing what you're doing. But wow, like, honestly, like, when I think about all of this, I know my guests are everyone that's listening is gonna be like, what? Like, they're gonna have their mouths open, because we're just not normalized and understand and know. And like, I know anyone as well, even any of the males that are listening, they're gonna be like, holy shit, actually don't have it as bad as what I thought, and it's not the end of the world, and you can always come back stronger, and you can change the frequency in yourself of who and what way you're living,
Right.
to become this new basically whole being of who you are right now. And it's a journey we're all still on, and it will continuously keep evolving. You keep growing, keep healing, and yeah, I can see big things for you as well. So yeah, thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
amazing to just hear your journey.
Thank you. You're amazing.
Wow. Oh my
I appreciate
God.
you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And guys, what I'll do is I will leave Shane's Instagram below. Any questions? The book as well is something I want to have a little look at
Oh,
too.
yes, I'll bring you one.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
I'll
sure.
bring you one.
But thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your message. And I know it's going to touch so many lives, and hopefully you can come on maybe in a year's time and see where you're at again.
Yeah, let's do it.
Amazing.
Love to.
Thanks so much. No, stop. Amazing. I just want to...
One take, Drake.